rising, in which a lot of big clubs like NCAA, NFL, and etc. and here also, ladies and gentlemen, see college students as a commodity that they can use to achieve their goal at making their clubs successful, ladies and gentlemen. And we say right now, for example, before these college students, they just started an amateur league, but right now they're like treated as professionals. The college and also the clubs, they give a lot of funding towards the college by giving, like, for example, a stadium, giving them salary, giving like a very well-trained coach, and etc., ladies and gentlemen. And they give a promise that if you do this, that we're going to give you a spot in our team, and this is going to be very useful for you. That also creates a phenomenon in which major clubs pouring exorbitant amount of money towards college and also these athletes, ladies and gentlemen. And we say that the harmful thing is right now, those phenomenon is seen and perceived in a positive light. People do not see the negative effect on how commercializing the athletes is very harmful for them, for you as educational system, and also for society, which I'm going to talk about in my speech, ladies and gentlemen. We say that behind it there's a massive harm, and this is a debate as a United States society and citizen whether we should embrace or we should regret the phenomenon, right? The definition is that usually the commercialization is the use of athletes of the clubs to make them as professionals. Usually they give like lots of advertisement, also scouting system, and etc. Things that are very regrettable. I'm going to talk about two things in my speech. First of all, why commercialization of college athletes is highly inappropriate, especially if it is affirmed by college institution in United States. I'm also going to talk about there is a discriminatory impact that is going to affirm stereotypes that hampers the college students to achieve their maximum level of development. I'm going to talk about the first, right? Why commercialization of college athletes is highly inappropriate, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're talking about college students, you're also talking about how these college students are on the way to discover about what kind of path of life that I want to choose, right? About how they want to discover what matters for them the most. It is also applicable to college athletes, also musicians, and etc., ladies and gentlemen. But the problem is that we have to concede that at discovering your talents and discovering what matters for you, you need time, and also you need the ability to construct what matters for you the most and what actually not, right? Ladies and gentlemen, the problem with commercialization, let's take a look what happens in commercialization. These clubs usually give and pour exorbitant amount of money towards college, and also they give the promises towards these college students. But for example, give a lucrative promises, advertisement, promises from club, and we say that's highly harmful, because that is going to overcloud the judgment of these college students at making decisions about what matters for them at discovering their life. We understand that sometimes there are a lot of people who are already passionate being a basketball player, or for example, they want to do baseball in college, ladies and gentlemen. But the problem is, we're not talking about people who are financially capable, right? We're also usually the people who receive this scholarship are those who are poor, and usually like from Black community. And we say that the lucrative promise, no thank you, and also the exorbitant amount of support system from them is going to overcloud the judgment, and they're going to follow what the clubs want, ladies and gentlemen. But most importantly, this is also harmful, because usually, ladies and gentlemen, it is just a false hope. You have to understand that at the end of the day, not everyone is going to make it, and even only minority that is going to make it out of those clubs, ladies and gentlemen. What? You have to see, at the other hand, their investment is so great, ladies and gentlemen. Their time to invest everything for that clubs is very big, ladies and gentlemen. We say that the most harmful thing is that if you're talking about commercialization towards big clubs, they usually bind these athletes by contract, ladies and gentlemen. That's why it's very hard for these athletes to opt out of that contract. We say, yes, exit mechanism is there, but usually majority of these athletes, they don't want to take that, or they're very afraid of taking that, because you're going to be shunned by their fellow athletes and also their clubs, ladies and gentlemen. The outcomes that they won't choose it, because there's a pressure from their managers, and also from the first time, they're already promised that they're going to get a spot in the first place. Usually at the end, they're going to be exploited by these clubs, ladies and gentlemen, by giving them false yes.
Most of NBA players, fatherless, live in ghetto area and
exactly.
And this is the channel for them to be a superstar.
Okay, I'm going to talk about that in my second argument, right? ladies and gentlemen, what's so harmful if you bind them with a contract and there's less possibility they're going to go out of that contract? You close them the opportunity of these athletes to explore other things, and it harms their personal growth, ladies and gentlemen, because this is very important. In the context of U.S. college and system, ladies and gentlemen, in principle, United States college, they want people to have flexibility and also time to construct their path of life. That's why in U.S. they're not in U.S. you're not supposed to only take one major that is focused. Like in your first year, you're going to take a liberal arts, and after that you can determine, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we have to concede that people might want to change, and if you have this commercialization, the opportunity is very, very small. Now, thank you. Second, ladies and gentlemen, exactly answering Victoria's POI. This is going to have a discriminatory impact, especially because most of these athletes are African Americans that receive the scholarship, right, ladies and gentlemen. People have an unconscious narrative that this is the only way of these black people to go out of their poverty and to explore their talents, ladies and gentlemen. Especially also, right now, they see that the tuition fee is very inflated in the United States. There's no other way they can compete inside that, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, these big clubs, they exploit the vulnerability of these people who are very vulnerable, ladies and gentlemen. But then secondly, the harms is that if they choose other field, usually they're going to be underestimated because people think that because people incorporate the ability of black people, like for example, become basketball players. That shows there is a typecasting, ladies and gentlemen, that makes people have unconsciously bias, and they think that the only way for me to get out of this poverty is by becoming athletes to begin with, ladies and gentlemen, that impedes other alternatives that exist on the status quo, ladies and gentlemen. They're also going to be pressured by their community because they see that everyone that is also my fellow African American people, they're usually very, very good at basketball, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, they see this there's a role model that exists in the society, and at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, their ability to choose and see what is their passion, what is they're most passionate about, is going to be overclouded. We're very proud to say that this is the time for us not to erase this phenomenon.